Hello, my dear children. Children, in the class of gravitation, we'll continue with satellites we started last time. Children, we have already had the overview of satellites. So, what we stated in the last class, briefly, that is going to be explained today. So, let's know what is orbital speed of a satellite. Well, children, satellites are those objects which revolve around planet. So, if this is a satellite moving on the circular path all around this planet whose mass is m and radius is capital R, the speed with which this satellite moves in its orbit, in its circular orbit around this planet, is called its orbital speed. Children, we already know an object moves on circular path only when it is provided with centripetal force for circular motion. So here in this case, necessary centripetal force for circular motion of satellite is provided by force of attraction, gravitational force of attraction between satellite and the planet. So this is satellite, this is planet, and centripetal force for circular motion is provided by gravitational force of attraction between planet and satellite. What is centripetal force? Centripetal force is mv square by r, and gravitational force of attraction is g m, the mass of planet, into m, the mass of satellite, upon r, square of distance between them. We can see that this m cancels out, one of the power of the r cancels out. So what do we get? We get v naught as g m by r square root. So this is orbital speed of a satellite revolving around planet on the circular path of radius small r. For Earth satellite or polar satellites, small r, that is the distance of the satellite from the center of the planet, is nearly same as the radius of the planet, as h is small and is negligible as compared to r. Well, in that case, orbital speed is going to be square root of gm by r. R is the radius of the planet. Now see children, if we multiply it with r, within the square root we multiply it with r and divide it by r, what do we get? We get in the numerator gm by r square and of course r, like this. This gm by r square is nothing but acceleration due to gravity over the surface of the planet. So gm by r square is acceleration due to gravity over the surface of the planet. In that case, orbital speed is going to be g square root of gr. This is the orbital speed of polar satellite. For planet Earth, well, g is 9.8 meter per second square and r is what? 64,000 kilometer. That means 64 into 10 to the power 5 meter. And if we solve this, what do we get? We get this as 7.9 kilometer per second. This is the orbital speed of Earth satellites, the satellites which are very close to the Earth's surface. If the satellites are far away, like geostationary satellite, whose distance is exactly 36,000 kilometers from the Earth's surface, so in that case, the orbital velocity, we are going to use the same formula, but this r is going to be replaced by what? R plus h. H is 36,000 kilometers. See, the formula of orbital velocity is gm by r. We multiply it by r square and divide it by r square. And this quantity is what? This quantity is acceleration due to gravity over the surface of the planet, g. This is r square and this is r. Well, this r is r plus h. If we substitute the value of g over Earth's surface, for Earth's surface, if g is 9.8 meter per second square, r is 64,000 kilometer, h is 36,000 kilometer. If we substitute all these values and solve it, what do we get? We get it as 3.1 kilometer per second. So this is the orbital speed of the satellite in Clark's orbit, geostationary orbits, the orbits in which the satellite is at rest with respect to the Earth. Well, what is time period? Let us work out the expression for the time period. Well, centripetal force, as we know already, centripetal force is provided by the force of attraction between satellite and the planet. And we are going to write down centripetal force in terms of angular velocity or angular frequency of the planet, angular frequency of the satellite. Well, what is centripetal force? Centripetal force has three relations. One is mv square by r, which we have used. The other relation is what? mr omega square. And the third relation is what? m into v into omega, that is angular frequency. So we are going to use the second relation for centripetal force, mr omega square, and that is equal to force of attraction between satellite and planet. And what is that? gmm by r square. We can see that this mass m of the satellite cancels out. So what do we get omega square as? We get omega square as gm by r, and this r square becomes what? R cube. Or omega is equal to gm by r cube square root. This is angular frequency of satellite. And we know this angular frequency is 2 pi by t. T is the time period of revolution. And we write omega as 2 pi by t. What do we get t as? We get t as 2 pi r cube upon gm. This is the value of, this is the expression for time period for any satellite. As usual, if the satellite happens to be polar satellite, Earth satellite, whose distance from the Earth's surface is negligible as compared to the radius of the Earth's surface or radius of the planet. Well, what do we write this r as? We write this r as capital R, which is the radius of the planet. We get t as 2 pi r cube upon gm. Well, gm upon r square. One r square can be taken from here to here in the denominator. The gm upon r square becomes what? G. And we are left with r in the numerator. So this time period can also be written as 2 pi r upon g whole square root. What we have done here is, we have used this relation, g is equal to gm by r square, or gm is equal to g into r square. Just write gm is equal to g into r square, we get this relation. And if we substitute the value of r, that is 64 into 10 to the power 5, and g as 9.8, and solve it, we get the value of time period as nearly 84 minutes. So this is time period of polar satellites. Well, we can also write down this time period in terms of material of density of the planet. And this derivation is very, very important, children. And this is asked in your school exam. This is one of the favorite derivation of your school exam. So what are we going to do now? We are going to write down the time period of polar satellite. We are going to write down the time period of polar satellite in terms of the density of the material of the planet. What is time period? Time period is 2 pi r cube upon gm. This is the formula of time period. And what are we going to do? Let us substitute the mass. What is mass of the planet? Mass of the planet is going to be volume of the planet into density of the material of the planet. So mass of the planet is going to be volume of the planet. Planet is spherical in shape, so its volume is going to be 4 pi by 3 r cube. And we multiply this volume with density, we get mass. And if we substitute this mass here, what do we get? 2 pi r cube upon gm. M is what? 4 pi by 3 r cube into rho. We can see that this r cube cancels out. This r cube cancels out. And if we take this 2 pi inside this square root, so this 2 pi becomes what? 4 pi square. G 4 pi by 3 rho remains as it is. And we can see here, this 4 cancels out with this 4, and one of the pi cancels out. This 3 within square root moves up to the numerator. So what do we get in the numerator? 3 pi upon 0. The time period is what? 3 pi upon 0. This is very, very important formula. And we can see here that time period of polar satellite is inversely proportional to square root of the density of the material of the planet. Children, let us find out the time period of geostationary satellite. We have found out the time period of polar satellite. We have found out its value as nearly 84 minutes, and we have also found out the time period in terms of density of the material of the planet. So what is time period of geostationary satellite? Children, we know geostationary satellites are exactly 36,000 kilometers away from the Earth's surface. So what is the difference here? This is the value of time period. This is the value of time period which is written here. This is 2 pi r cube upon gm. For geostationary satellite, for polar satellite, this small r is equal to r, the radius of the planet. But for geostationary satellite, this small r is going to be r plus h. This h is 36,000 kilometers. And if we substitute this as r plus h, we get the r plus h cube. Now what are we doing here? We are dividing it by r square and multiplying it with r square. And this quantity we know that this quantity is nothing but acceleration due to gravity on the surface of the planet. So for this we write g. So what do we get? R plus r cube as it is, and for this we write g, and r square is written as it is. Now we can substitute. R is what? 64 into 10 to the power 5. H is what? 36 into 10 to the power 6 meter. 36,000 kilometer. That is 36 into 10 to the power 6 meter. G as 9.8 meter per second square for Earth's surface, and R is equal to, we already know R is this. So if we substitute all these values, we get the time period exactly equal to 24 hours. 24 hours is the time period of revolution of geostationary satellites. Children, I am going to work out a relation between orbital velocity, which we have just studied right today, and in the last class we studied escape velocity. So we are going to work out a relation between orbital velocity and escape velocity. Well, orbital velocity which we have just studied for polar satellite is what? gr square root. G is acceleration due to gravity and r is the radius of the planet. And what is escape velocity? Escape velocity of an object over a planet is 2gr, where g is acceleration due to gravity over the surface of planet. So this is escape velocity. This is escape velocity or speed, which we have already studied. This is orbital speed, which we have studied right today. Now you can see here, if we divide from VE, V0, this is relation 1, this is relation 2. From 2 we divide 1. What do we get? We get what? 2gr square root divided by gr square root. What does this mean? gr will cancel out. We get VE upon V0 as root 2. Well, this simply means escape velocity is root 2 times orbital velocity. This is what is the requisite relation. This relation means that escape velocity is greater than orbital velocity by 41.4%. And how do we work it out? See, I am going to work it out. You can straightway say, and also you can work it out. What is escape velocity? Escape velocity is root 2. Root 2 means what? 1.414 times V0. We can write 1.414 as what? 1 plus 0.414 times V0. Let us open up the brackets. What do we get? We get VE is equal to V0 plus 0.414 times V0. That means VE minus V0 is equal to 0.414. 0.414 times V naught. We can write it as VE minus V naught upon V naught. Let us change the side of V naught from here. What do we get? 0.414. So what is this? This is change of velocity. This is delta V, that is the velocity by which, the value by which the escape velocity is greater than orbital velocity. This is delta V, and this is original value of velocity V naught. So this is fractional value by which the escape velocity is greater than orbital velocity, and that fractional value is what? 0.414. And if you multiply both sides by 100, what do we get? Percentage value. This is percentage value. And this percentage value is what? 41.4. What does this mean? This simply means VE is greater than V naught, that escape velocity is greater than orbital velocity by 41.4%. Children, let us know finally what is the energy of satellite. You already know that satellite is an object which moves in the gravitational field of the planet. The motion of satellite takes place in conservative force field. So what is energy of satellite? Energy of satellite is always sum total of the kinetic energy K of the satellite and potential energy U. The total energy E is sum total of kinetic energy K and potential energy U. What is kinetic energy? Kinetic energy is 1/2 mv naught square, where V naught is what? Orbital speed. If we substitute the value of V naught, gm by r square root, which we have found out a short while ago. If we substitute this value here, what do we get? Kinetic energy as 1/2 g m, the mass of planet, into m, the mass of satellite, upon r, the distance between them. So this is expression for kinetic energy of satellite. This is expression for kinetic energy of satellite. Well, what is potential energy? Potential energy is nothing but potential energy of two charge configuration. One is two mass configuration. One is what? The satellite, and the other mass is the planet. So potential energy of two mass configuration is what? Minus g m1 m2 by r. R is the separation between the two masses. So what is potential energy of satellite? Potential energy of satellite is going to be minus g m1. M1 is the mass of the planet, m2 is the mass of satellite, and r of course is the distance between them. So this is kinetic energy, this is potential energy, and their sum total is going to be total energy. Well, if you look at this kinetic energy, this kinetic energy, if we write as say plus x, we write this kinetic energy as say plus x. What we are going to do, in fact, we are going to compare kinetic energy, potential energy and total energy all from each other. If this kinetic energy happens to be plus x, then this potential energy is going to be minus 2x. Why minus 2x? Look at this kinetic energy, gmm by 2r. This is what? gmm by r. So this value is twice of this value. You multiply kinetic energy by 2 and you will get this value. So if this is x, this value is going to be what? 2x. But remember, kinetic energy is always positive, it is plus x, and this is always negative, and that is minus 2x. So if we compare the two values, so what do we get out of that comparison? If this is x, this is going to be minus 2x. And what is their sum total? Their sum total is going to be total energy of the satellite. And what is that? E is equal to k plus u. And if you add x with minus 2x, what are we going to get? X plus minus 2x is going to yield minus x. And that is what we get. K plus u is what? Sum total of these two. Total energy comes out to be what? Minus gmm by 2r. And if this is x, this is minus 2x, then of course it is going to be what? Minus x. Now, if we know this, the comparison of the values in our mind, we can work out the ratio of kinetic energy to potential energy to total energy, or kinetic energy to total energy. What is the ratio of kinetic energy to potential energy? It is what? Minus 1:2. What is the ratio of kinetic energy to total energy? Minus 1:1. What is the ratio of potential energy to total energy? Yeah, it is 2:1. Mass will cancel out, 2/1. So you can find out the ratio of any of these three values from each other. Well, this energy is negative. Total energy of satellite is negative. Why? It is simply because satellite is bound to the planet. It cannot leave the planet on its own. Satellite is moving in the gravitational field of the planet. It is attracted by the planet, and that force of attraction provides necessary centripetal force for circular motion. So satellite is always bound with the earth. It cannot leave the earth or planet itself. There is an invisible cord between satellite and the planet, and that invisible cord is that of force of attraction. So this negative energy signifies a closed system. It tells us that satellite is bound with the planet. It cannot leave the planet itself. And if we want to remove the satellite from the planet, then we need to supply this much of positive energy. So what is the binding energy? Binding energy is the same value of energy but positive. So this is binding energy. The same value of energy but positive is binding energy of the planet. So this is the energy with which the planet is bound to, satellite is bound to the planet. And if we want this satellite to move out of the gravitational field of the planet, then we need to give this much value of positive energy to the satellite to escape, to move out of the planet's gravitational field. Well, if we plot these expressions graphically, this is energy axis, this is negative energy axis, this is 0, 0, this is r, the separation between satellite and the planet. The graphical plot of, this is the graphical plot of kinetic energy, this is K versus R, this is K versus R graph, K versus R, this is K versus R graph. The kinetic energy is always positive and it varies inversely with distance. Potential energy, this is the graph of, this is the graph of U versus R, and this is the graphical plot of total energy E against R. And this ratio which we see here should be obvious from the graph. Like here, see, what is kinetic energy? It is plus x. What is potential energy? This is potential energy. What it has to be? Minus 2x from this graph. It has to be minus 2x. And what is total energy? And total energy is what? Minus x. Everywhere this ratio should be visible. Everywhere over the graph. If this happens to be what? Alpha. Well, this total energy, that is potential energy, has to be what? Minus 2 alpha. And this is going to be what? Minus alpha. So everywhere at each and every distance, this ratio, that K, U and E, 1 is to minus 2 is to minus 1. That ratio should be obvious from the graph. So children, with this we come to the end of today's class. Thank you very much and God bless you all.